It was a dark and stormy night, the kind of night that made people uneasy. The rain was pouring down in sheets, the wind was howling, and the lightning was bright enough to illuminate the dark streets. In the center of the city, there was an old abandoned mansion. It had been vacant for years and no one had ever bothered to buy it. However, tonight, something strange was happening inside the mansion. As the night grew darker, the mansion started to emit a strange glow. The light was eerie and unnatural, and it attracted the attention of anyone who was out on the streets. People started gathering around the mansion, wondering what was going on inside. Some curious onlookers even tried to enter the mansion, but the doors were locked, and there was no sign of anyone inside. As the crowd watched from outside, a figure emerged from the shadows. He was tall and had a long dark coat, which fluttered in the wind. People tried to approach him, but as they got closer they realized that there was something wrong with him. His eyes were dead, his skin was pale, and he seemed to be floating in midair. They tried to scream, but their voices were silenced. The figure disappeared in an instant, and the mansion started to shake violently. The shaking was so intense that the ground cracked, and the trees around the mansion started to fall. The windows shattered and the door of the mansion creaked open. A wave of cold air escaped, and the onlookers could hear strange noises coming from inside. They tried to run away, but they couldn't move. As the mansion descended into darkness again, something inside came to life. The furniture started to move on its own, and the paintings on the walls came to life. The curtains on the windows blew out, the candles flickered, and the floorboards creaked with every step. Suddenly, a figure appeared at the top of the stairs. It was a woman dressed in a flowing white gown with long black hair covering her face. Her eyes glowed red, and she seemed to float down the stairs. The onlookers gasped in horror as the woman approached them. They tried to run, but found that they couldn't move. The woman raised her arms and unleashed a powerful blast of energy that lifted them off the ground. Suddenly, their screams were joined by the creaking of bones and the sound of flesh being torn from bodies. The ground shook, the walls cracked, and the sky turned an angry shade of purple. The woman continued to release waves of energy, destroying everything in her path. The people who had gathered around the mansion were now nothing but lifeless corpses, their bodies strewn across the street. The mansion had been the home of a powerful sorceress who had died many years ago. It was said that she had been so consumed by her own power that she could not bear to leave this world. Even in death, she commanded the spirits and unleashed her fury on anyone who dared to disturb her peace. As the chaos unfolded, the storm raged on, intensifying the already eerie atmosphere surrounding the old mansion. The torrential rain made it difficult for anyone to see clearly, but the horrifying events unfolding inside the mansion were impossible to ignore. The figure in the long dark coat reappeared, standing just outside the mansion's entrance. The crowd, frozen with fear, watched in terror as the figure's dead eyes scanned their faces. A hushed silence fell over the onlookers as they anxiously awaited their fate. "Who dares disturb my eternal slumber?" A haunting voice echoed through the night, seemingly coming from all directions. The voice sent shivers down their spines, and they exchanged fearful glances. A brave soul stepped forward, his voice trembling. We didn't mean any harm. We were curious about the strange light and the commotion. Please spare us." The figure laughed, a chilling sound that echoed through the night. "You dare to trespass in my domain and expect mercy, foolish mortals?" Suddenly, the mansion's doors swung open with a deafening creak, revealing a pitch-black void within. The crowd gasped as a bone-chilling wind rushed out, extinguishing nearby streetlights. The onlookers took a step back, their hearts pounding intensely. The figure moved effortlessly towards the entrance, gliding across the ground. It was then that the woman in the flowing white gown appeared at the top of the stairs once again. Her eyes glowed brighter, and her voice echoed with a mix of anger and sorrow. "Leave this place now or suffer the consequences," she warned, her voice carrying a supernatural power that made it impossible to resist. The onlookers, filled with terror, tried desperately to flee, but an invisible force held them in place. Panic spread through the crowd as they realized there was no escape from the wrath of the sorceress. With a wave of her hand, the sorceress unleashed a powerful gust of wind that sent the crowd flying backward. Their bodies collided with the ground, bones snapping and cries of pain filling the air. The sorceress continued her assault, her energy blasts tearing through anything in their path. Amidst the chaos, the mansion itself seemed to come alive. The walls groaned, the ceiling cracked, and the floorboards twisted and contorted beneath their feet. The paintings on the walls twisted and distorted, revealing grotesque and horrifying images that seared into their minds. As the sorceress's power grew, the sky above turned a sickly shade of purple, mirroring the darkness that consumed the mansion. Lightning crackled across the sky, illuminating the destruction and despair. The crowd's screams grew louder, but they were quickly silenced as their bodies disintegrated into dust. The sorceress had claimed their lives, leaving nothing but a haunting silence in her wake. With her fury unleashed, the sorceress sank back into the darkness, leaving the shattered ruins of the mansion behind. The storm gradually subsided, and the eerie glow faded, as if the night itself mourned the loss of innocent lives. The legend of the sorceress and her wrath would forever be etched in the memories of those who witnessed the horrors that unfolded that dark and stormy night. The old mansion would stand as a haunting reminder of the power that lies within the realms of the unknown, a cautionary tale to those who dared to disturb the peace of the supernatural.
Thank you for listening to today's story. If you liked this story and would like to hear more, and/or you would have liked the story to turn out differently, or maybe have an idea for a spin-off to this story or another one altogether, just let us know in the comments below. There will be more stories to come shortly. As always, thank you for visiting my channel. You are all very appreciated.